Festival. We are at Darbar Hall, the heart of the story. Let's welcome our panelists Anubha Mehta, Suchita Malik in conversation with Deepa Agarwal.
And on the right is Suchita Malik. This is her fourth novel, Scent of the Soil. And these are two very different works. All of us seek the heart of the story in our own ways. Now, Suchita, each writer approaches these questions in her own style and uses different devices to express the central idea of a story. Your novel, Suchita, Scent of the Soil, is about a civil servant abandoning a highly successful career to return to his rural roots. Apart from the protagonist's, Shubhajit's own disenchantment with his life, there are other external factors that reinforce his decision. Can you share the stories, the thoughts that help to propel your plot to its conclusion?
Thank you so much. And I thank the audience also for being here and listening to us so patiently. And well, I've been listening to both of you with a lot of interest. And you have talked little about the theme of my novel, that is the scent of the soil. It's a fourth novel, and it's the culmination of a trilogy, which I started with my first novel, that was Indian Memsahib, which came about 10 years before, which was followed by the second one, Memsahib's Chronicles, a story of grit and glamour. The third one was not about civil service, Women Extraordinaire, where I talked about ordinary women and what is it that makes them extraordinary. But today the topic is a little different, and we talk about my fourth novel, that is Scent of the Soil. As you said very rightly, Deepa, that here the protagonist, he is so caught up in the web of life, and he's a civil servant. He has worked for more than 3 decades, and he has won the Prime Minister's award twice. He's professionally very, very successful. He's reached the peak of his career. But his family life, he has had to make certain sacrifices. His family life is in a shambles. His family has disintegrated. His children have gone astray. Professionally, he may be very successful, but personally, he's a loner. So a point comes in his life where that forces him to redefine the words like success, glory, courage, glamour, etc., etc. He thinks, I'm professionally very successful, but am I really successful? Am I really happy? Is happiness a mirage? So he wants to take a short break, and he thinks that, he would like to go back to his roots and live a simple life. He wants to be away from a life of glamour and glitz and grit even, and he wants some kind of catharsis. So there is a twist in the story as we are discussing the heart of the matter. Well, that is the creative freedom a writer enjoys, that there is a plot and there is a subplot. So there is a twist in the story where the older generation and the younger generation, they come in contact, the grandmother and the grandchildren, they come in contact with each other, and there becomes I bring a subplot where the children want to know that, tell us about our village, because the grandmother has come from a village. Now the children have read all about the village life, the rustic setup, etc., or about how the civilization, how the first village came up, and all those kind of things. They have read only in their textbooks or as lessons. But here is someone, the granny, the grandmother, who has actually lived that kind of life. So a very simple question asked by one of the grandchildren, tell us about our village, grandma. She loves the word our. She sees that there is some kind of belongingness and which she needs to adhere to. So they start talking to each other. And she tells how the first village was set up, how it was set up 400 years back, how, there was a common ancestor, and how, each person started a village. What was a panna? Some of you, the older generation sitting here, would know that it was referred to a section of a population. And what was a thola? They say, what is a thola? She says, it's a kutumb. Then she talks about the major activities in the village. She talks about harvesting, how they would go to the fields, how they would cut the crops. Now the children have they've read about Keats's Ode to the Autumn, where autumn is personified as a village woman. They know about the winnowing process from there. But here is a person who has actually lived that kind of life. They've heard about Ode to Autumn, but they do not know what a charge is. So they ask about all those questions. So the grandma tells that we used to get up in the morning, we used to take a darati. They say, what is a darati? So it's a sickle. They understand a sickle, but they do not know what is a darati. Then she talks about the morning routine of a village woman, how she would prepare the sani for the fodder for the animals, how she would clean the cow dung, how she would milk the cow, etc., etc., etc. How the cutting of the sugar cane, etc., etc. She needs about the need-based occupations in the village. Say, for instance, the various segments in the society in the form of, there's a Baniya community, there's a Lohar, there is a Sonar, there is a Teli, there's a Bharbhuja, and all that. So for children, it is not a lesson. It is a tale, and they greatly respond to that. So that is a story within a story, the heart of the matter, where both of them listen to each other, they relate. So that is the middle section of my novel, which can be, I'll just take a few seconds more. The whole novel can be deconstructed into 3 segments. One is the glorious present moment. Second is looking back, delving into the past, and which comes to your later question, that the future, they're thinking about the future, how the past and the present are connected, and they're looking into the future, trying to find the answers. Is the answer lies in a balance between tradition and modernity? Or do we redefine all that? So that is how I structured my novel, and tale within a tale and heart of the matter. And let me tell you, it all came from my heart.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll ask Suchita to briefly read a short passage, and after that we can take a couple of questions from the audience. This is a very short session, and thanks so much again for being here to listen to us.
Thank you so much, Deepaji. As you want, I'll read a very small paragraph which will probably give you a flavor of the novel. The journey of life is a progression from innocence to corruption, from primal instincts to sophisticated artifice, from instinctual wisdom to acquired education based on concocted theories, lopsided interpretation, and formulated philosophies. Life is a vicious circle, thought Shubhajit. First, we are in a hurry to sever ourselves from our roots, break all connections with tradition in our march towards modernity, to immerse ourselves in worldly pleasures till we can take it no more, or till we reach a peak, and then starts the downward slide towards the process of simplification of activities, trying to get rid of the useless paraphernalia surrounding us, learning to terminate false relationships, turning towards things that will take us back to our roots. There comes a point in the life of a man when he wants to shed everything: inhibitions, pressures, false emotions, modern gadgets, printed word, expression of innermost feelings, etc., till he's left in his true naked form, mentally and emotionally, so that he can take a step towards spiritualism and ultimate communion with God.
Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful.
As a novelist, do you try to be more original or to deliver to readers what they want?
No, let me take that. As a writer, you always have the creative freedom to choose your own subject and the theme and the characters, which are all, the facts are all strewn all around you. It is the writer's creative freedom to pick up whatever he or she wants and then give them little bit of imagination and weave them into a story. At time when a writer writes, I don't know about others, but as far as I'm concerned, well, you do not think all that. You think only from your heart. You want your novel to be entertaining also, and yet I always feel that it should carry a message. And as I would like to end with, as Fitzgerald, I'm sure you are all aware of his name, Fitzgerald says in The Great Gatsby, "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." So if you can connect the present, the past, and the future, well, and still appeal to a segment of readers and audience, I think you have done your job properly. Thank you so much for listening to us so patiently for about something which has come straight away from our heart. Thank you from our heart. Thank you.
Wish to thank our panelists Anubha Mehta, Suchita Malik, Deepa Agarwal.